Welcome to Teenage Mutant Ninja Thursday. This is our third Teenage Mutant Ninja Thursday. Thank you guys so much for sticking around these few weeks where I get to talk about Ninja Turtles. It's my favorite day of the week. Please give us a like, give us a subscribe. If you like Ninja Turtles, if you like movies, entertainment, and all that, please give us a subscribe because we have got you covered here at Digital Charcuterie every Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. I will be sitting down or standing, giving you Teenage Mutant Ninja Thursdays, talking everything in the world and Ninja Turtles. For that week, Fridays, we have Casual Friday, where we just talk about whatever's on our mind. And you can send us an email for that show at digitalcharcuterie@gmail.com. There is a link in the description down below. Today's Ninja Turtle Thursday is a little bit different than the past. We won't be going into the history of the Turtles so much, but because I'm on vacation right now and I'm not home. This is all an illusion. But basically what I wanted to tell you was not what I want to tell you. What I want to talk about today is Turtles Forever. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Forever. The movie that was made in 2010, which combines 30 years of Turtles. 25. This was the 25th anniversary of the Turtles' 30 years. That was 3 years ago. And it combined 25 years of the Turtles. And so it took the Nickelodeon show at the time, and there's a heist. If you haven't seen it, there is a heist. And Splinter's watching it on TV, and there are 4 turtles involved. And he calls his sons, and he says, why are you guys on the screen? And they say, that's not us. And it turns out that it is the Turtles from the 80s cartoon, which I like to refer to as my Ninja Turtles. Those are my Ninja Turtles on the screen. If you haven't seen Turtles Forever, you have to do yourself a favor and watch it, because this movie, I guess, does a phenomenal job of making fun of the 80s Turtles, the animated series Turtles, but at the same time embracing it and appreciating what came before. And so you see, Michelangelo is like, I love the new Michelangelo's like, I love these guys. These guys are great. They're zany. And at one point he's like, don't you ever stop joking around. And you kind of see how exhausting it is. And then there's one point so what happens is the Turtles accidentally open up this dimension port thing, and they go through different dimensions. And they end up in the Nickelodeon Ninja Turtle dimension, which looks nothing like theirs. But they're walking around in daylight, and everyone's getting scared, because in the 80s cartoon, they would walk around in daylight and nobody would say boo to them. And at one point, they go back to the 80s dimension, and you see Bebop and Rocksteady in human form walking. That was really cool. And you see like a giant banana getting peeled and a giant mutated pizza and all these mutated things. It's really awesome, because what it's about is they bring the mutagen to this the new turtle dimension, and the villain gets his hand on it, and they kind of find out. And Shredder comes through the dimension, so the 80s Shredder is trying to figure it out, and and then he realizes that if there's a different dimension Ninja Turtles, then there would be an alternate dimension Shredder as well. So he sets out to find the Shredder, and if anyone had followed that series, you would know that Shredder and Krang are the same being in it. So he brings in the Shredder, which ends up being the Krang, and new Shredder decides that he's going to take over all dimensions, and that's the plot of his All Dimensions. And they get their hands on the mutagen, and all the foot soldiers. They decide to turn all the foot soldiers into mutants, but the foot soldiers from the 80s are all robots, if you remember. So they upgrade those ones to be like super robots. So they look. I'm laughing. It's actually a really. It's a funny movie, okay? I'm 36 years old, and it's so stupid. So they upgrade those ones. But one of the things is, so they're fighting on the streets, and Shredder's like trying to erase every dimension. He's trying to reach every dimension. And the only way to erase the Ninja Turtles is go to this dimension called Turtle Prime, where the Turtles first started, and that kind of split off into all these other dimensions. But as there's this giant fight going on the streets with all 8 turtles and the bad guys, Toka and Razor from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 Secret of the Ooze appear. And it's not like they're like, oh, look, Toka and Razor. You have to know who they are when you're watching it. And I don't think anybody watching Ninja Turtles Forever would not know who they are. So they turn one guy into a wolf, and I was watching. I said, is that you know, is that Toka? Is that Reza? And then all of a sudden you just see them, and there is the wolf and the snapping turtle on the hood of the party wagon kind of fighting it, and you're just like, that's amazing. And then so it's just filled with Easter eggs like that, and they're done in for an animated show, it's done in not so much a campy way. The one time I guess it is kind of forced is when New Shredder has all the turtles kind of like bolted up, and he's like, there are millions of dimensions, and when you look around at the dimensions, you see turtles from like all these cartoon series, all these like internet things, and you see like the Ninja Turtle movie, the original movie, those turtles are there. You see the TMNT animated movie turtles are there. So all the turtles that have existed in social media and social platforms for 25 years make some sort of appearance in there. And it was kind of a nice little nod. Turtles are around forever. And I spoke about this a little bit, I think, on the first episode, or maybe even last week. Look, the Ninja Turtles have succeeded in a way that a lot don't. And that's why right now they're never going to go away. That's what I'm trying to say. They're never going to go away. The Ninja Turtles are here forever because they surpassed the fad phase. They were a fad in the 80s. Okay, this is cute. Let your kids play with Ninja Turtles for a while, but eventually they're going to disappear and no one's going to care about turtles again. And they kind of did. And then they came back. And then they came back, and then they came back, and they continue to come back. And you look at the first Bay-produced film, it made a boatload of money. The second one, not so much. Is that based on the film? Is that based on it being a sequel to a movie that people were divided on? We don't, who knows? But people come out for Ninja Turtles. It's constant. Nickelodeon doing the new show, whether you like the look of it, whether or not, they're doing a new show because people will watch Ninja Turtles. Kids will watch Ninja Turtles. Adults will be like, oh yeah, Ninja Turtles. I like Ninja Turtles. And they'll put it on. It has withstood the hands of time, and that's what makes Ninja Turtles so great. And this 25-year anniversary film really shows that off and celebrates what the Turtles have done. But they ended up going to Turtle Prime, and Turtle Prime is the first comic book, essentially. They go to They go to a comic book, and it's all black and white, and kind of like has like the dots. Like if you look at the books, they're all like the ink sketches, and they're like, and all the turtles are obviously black and white. They all look the exact same, but with different weapons. And so the colored turtles, all 8 of them show up, and the new turtles like, who are these guys? And they're all very intense too. Like, who are these guys? We gotta get rid of them. And while they're fighting, the voices are like, Donatello pulled out his bow. And it's all just very funny. Like that. And they're like, why is he narrating? And that kind of happens. Then, original Shredder shows up and they throw trash cans at him and knock him over. And anyway, the turtles save the day, and it's fantastic. If you have not seen Teenage Mutant, sorry to ruin it for you. It's 8 years old. If you have not seen Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Forever, I definitely recommend you checking that one out, because it's a lot of fun. It's very respectful to every era of Turtles. So if you grew up and you're like, unless you've been watching Turtles in the last 8 years, because those Turtles obviously are not involved in this. But if you grew up in any era of Ninja Turtles aside from the live action show in the 90s, this respects it, it acknowledges it, it appreciates it, and it says, hey, we're all in this together. It's Turtle Power. Last topic for today before I let you all go. Again, thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe. We got to talk about Peta. Peta wants to make, not Peta the food, Peta the organization. They want the new Ninja Turtles to be vegans. I haven't really read too much up on this because it's kind of ridiculous because they're turtles. So if they're not eating meat, that's fine. Because the Turtles in the 80s, they do make a reference to this in Turtles Forever where they're like, I want pretzels on my pizza and cotton candy and stuff like that. And that's what the Turtles of the 80s did. And the Turtles I remember the first time I saw a Ninja Turtles movie in the theater, and he's like, no anchovies. And I was like, but Michelangelo would eat anchovies because it was the 80s. The cartoon Turtles was my Turtles, so I didn't comprehend on that. But anyway, you want to make them vegan. It's the cheese. So then you have to explain that they have vegan cheese on their pizza. You cannot take pizza away from the turtles. If you take pizza away from the turtles, that's like taking turtles away from the turtles. You can't do it. So then you have to explain that it's vegan cheese all the time. I think there's one step too far on this. If you want to make them vegetarian, I don't even see the point of that. But if you want to, that's perfectly fine. I don't care because they you can still, I like veggie pizzas half the time, so I'm the wrong person to ask, I guess. But you can have toppings on your pizza that aren't meat. Cheese, though, if you've seen Ninja Turtles or Ninja Turtles 2, especially Secret of the Ooze, and they're eating the cheese pizza and the cheese string, if that is not a perfect advertisement for pizza slices, I don't know what is. I want one right now. I might actually go in and get one. That's how good that looked. So you take away that, you just have sauce in your pizza then? I guess it's a cartoon. Is it easier to draw is it easier to color in the cheese than the sauce? I guess that's what it comes down to. But at the same time, I don't think Ninja Turtles need to be activists for anything one way or another. I said it last week. I say it all the time. They're just fun characters. You need to watch them and have a good time. Don't overthink them. They have weapons, but I mean, and there was an argument in the 80s that they were violent. Yeah, sure, but they weren't really violent. I mean, in the animated show, they fought, robots, and in the movies, they fight. Times have changed so much. I don't even know what is what anymore, to be honest with you. I never thought they were violent. I was a child when I watched Ninja Turtles. I never had a problem with them. So vegan turtles, I don't know. What do you guys think? I think it's kind of weird thing to do. Anyway, guys, that has been the third episode of Teenage Mutant Ninja Thursday. Next week we'll be back to full form. We'll have more going on then. I'll have more time. I promise. It's going to be a lot of fun. Can't wait to spend Thursdays with you. Tomorrow, stay tuned for Casual Friday. It's going to be a good talk. All right, guys, see you next time. Cowabunga.